Welcome, everybody, to another episode of What Did Adam Say? Season 4, Episode 23. Tonight I have Brigham Nielsen on here with me. We've never talked until just now for the past 15 minutes or so. So I love these kind of shows. This is like the second or third time I've had this where I've never met the person. I kind of like this. I really respect a lot of people in the V Friends community, and that's how I met Brigham. He's a performance mindset coach and is in sports event management. So I can't wait to talk to him about that. I've been getting back heavy into my fitness. So make sure you guys share this wherever you are, and let's fucking go. Wait, what?
Wait, what am I doing? Created a movement, won't ruin what you are pursuing. But I wake up every morning, never yawning, cause I wake up with the intent to make the day my bitch. And I don't need to hear you talking, so just shut your lips. Cause I'ma make it, yeah, I'ma make it, I'ma make it, I'ma make it. Lord have mercy, I'ma make it. I wake up with the intent to make the day my bitch. And I don't need to hear you talking, so just shut your lips. I'ma make it. Yeah, I'ma make it, I'ma make it, I'ma make it. Lord have mercy, I'ma make it. This shit is crazy, right? This shit is crazy.
This shit is crazy, right? The fact that both of us basically have just seen each other all over socials and stuff, but we just didn't really know about each other.
Right.
I love that. This community is really like that. Like everybody just kind of accepts everybody, and then we're just like, wait a second, we haven't actually talked.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for having me on, Adam. It's an honor to be on anybody's time. It's an honor to be on time. So appreciate that you'd be willing to fill your time with any of my story. And yeah, man, V Friends has been life changing for me. I don't know about you, but it's been pretty cool. It's been a lot of fun. Just even helped me have a better vision for what I think I want to do for my whole life. So it's been awesome.
Mhm. Yeah, it's been unexpectedly life changing. You know, like I've told this story a billion times. So if you heard it, I'm sorry, not sorry.
No.
I You haven't heard it, so that's
Yeah.
good. That's all that matters. I messed up, right? In 2020 October, I could have bought Ethereum for $289. I was gonna buy two. I just the one person who told me about it said I had to go to this ATM in Boston to buy it, and I was like, "That's in a sketchy neighborhood. I'm all set," and I just kind of forgot about it. Like that was in the middle of the rebrand that I was telling you about before the show. Um, and so I could have got 2 Ethereum. With that 2 Ethereum, I could have gotten 2 to 4 V friends with it.
Yeah.
With that 2 to 4 V friends, I could have sold 3 of them and made $100 to $250,000 depending on the rarity I got. So I really screwed up, and luckily I won a go from Gary.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and that it just like instantly erased everything I fucked up on.
Yes. Happy, sure.
Oh yeah, man. Like it was I still can't believe it, man. It's almost been a year. It's been 9 months. That's been a quick 9
That's
months.
crazy. I mean, man, and that's even crazy because I remember those chats, right? And not seeing everyone, but just being in those ones. And when people would win those, people, the whole community would go bonkers, right? Just everybody so pumped.
Mhm. Yeah, I always say
That was
my
awesome.
my Discord crashed, my Instagram crashed. Everything just crashed because everybody was tagging me at What Did Adam Say? Oh my god, that's so fucking awesome. And I'm like looking through all these messages, trying to respond to everybody. I'm like, this is nuts. Holy shit. And then I immediately get pulled onto a clubhouse to talk about it. And then Gary fucking comes into the clubhouse randomly, like it wasn't planned. And it was just a crazy night, man. Like it was one of those nights. Everybody was asleep in the house. It was like 11:30 at night, and I'm sitting here in this room by myself, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
So what day was it?
May 25th.
May 25th. Man, that is crazy.
Yep.
That is crazy.
Never forget that date ever, ever, ever.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, we could all say we have our own mess up in that situation of like just going through it and never knowing like how to do it. You're going to learn something. You're going to notice and figure out something that you did wrong. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, quite the experience for me. I ran into So I originally got into Gary through like the motivational Monday stuff, previously being a football coach and a teacher, and that stuff really stuck with me. And then it started to become just more. And there was more stuff that I was following that had to do with gratitude and perspective, and also the how people think, the psychology and that kind of stuff. And so that really was he was the right character to speak that kind of information to me. If that, learning that information from other people, I would always kind of be over the head, or I would feel like they were just better than me. I don't know. So anyway, so then that stuck, and then NFTs, and I was in the event business, and so that very easily made sense to me. Crypto had not made sense to me. I had a brother that got into crypto, and I definitely, poo-pooed that and said that wasn't worth my time. And that quickly changed the moment I learned about that. I was like, I know I have to learn about Ethereum and what this looks like.
Yep.
And I knew that I wanted to get a VFriends, because going to conferences and going and having those kinds of experiences, meeting people once a year, seeing them again in another year, those have been some of the life-changing events for me in the past. And so I knew this was the kind of thing that I'd like to, hey, I would buy this anyways, so I might as well learn the process.
What year did you discover Gary Vee?
So only in like 20, in regard, I had seen a few of his videos on Instagram back in like 2018 and 19, but only 2020 in regards to starting to consume on a daily basis, and starting to try and learn. And I really loved how I learned about so much when you'd listen to him, right? You learn about pop culture. I was into football, so him trying to represent people there. There was just a lot of correlation that's just made sense to me. So, but yeah, March and February of 2021, that's when it got deep into the NFT stuff, and that was quite the journey. It was fast.
So what VFriends do you have? So
I have a micro. It's a core card. I have the edition 19 out of 20, so like barely got it. So I can tell this story now because my wife knows. I told her, right? But I was trying to talk to her about these things as I was learning about them. I wasn't able to explain it well enough. She didn't want to. We argued a lot about it. I don't blame her, right? There were a couple things that we talked about doing for my birthday. They didn't happen because of COVID, basically. I knew if I did not take advantage of this opportunity, that I would regret it for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't tell her. I did it all in secret. I timed it all out to be able to buy it at like 4 a.m. while she was sleeping. It was me transferring the money into the bank when I was out on working. It was quite the fiasco, and I feel bad about it. Anyways, we've resolved that and gotten over it, right? And we're good now. But that was, I didn't have anyone to talk to. I just gotten into Twitter. I wasn't confident in what I was learning. I wasn't talking to anyone about it in person. Anyone in person I tried to talk to about it thought I was crazy. So I would talk to my brother Spencer about it a little bit, who had gotten into crypto, but he had gone through the dip and even has some. Yeah, that was just a tough time for him, and I saw that, so that made me a little nervous. Right, a little nervous, but as we talked about it more, it was cool to see him start to come out of. I thought, in my opinion, kind of come out of his shell, and he got more positive when we would talk about it, and so that was cool. We started to build a relationship there. But yeah, overall, I just felt like I was very by myself and in buying this thing, and so I got lucky with it getting pushed back the 5 days or so. That with how it all timed up and how I had to transfer it so that she didn't know, meant it was going to take longer to get in my account. Anyway, so I just feel super blessed to have gotten in. I only had the money that I get that it was 0.7 ETH. Like that was what I had.
Yeah.
I maybe could have bought one more. Or I maybe could have bought one more like just under that same price. Because I was each day, right?
Yep.
So the day I could get, but I just wasn't with work, and I just wasn't able to time it up. It already got too expensive.
Yeah, imagine if you did. Like, that's always like I have such a hard time with that in my mind. Like, I don't have a regret, but I'm like, man, shit. Like, I just had those 2 Ethereum to buy those 4 V friends. Like,
Well, and I've never done trading cards or anything like that. I've never. That's new for me. That's new for me. Just that whole thing is pretty new for me.
anything.
I'm used to the work. I'm not, but yeah, I'm not used to that whole trading and collectibles. I haven't really collected much that way.
Wow. That's interesting. I actually don't think I've met too many people in the VFam sphere that aren't or haven't been into collecting. So that's really awesome to hear because that's what you want, right? Is we want people that have never done this before to be like, dude, NFTs, dude, this is what to collect.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I only started trying to take investing seriously like in the last 5 or so years. I've got a best friend of mine from high school who I trust. Like I must not have a great relationship with money because I like have to really trust people. I don't know, it's weird. I'm just realizing this as I'm talking, but he's helped me invest a little bit through like Fidelity. That's who he works for, and then I've seen a lot of my friends get into real estate. I had seen a lot of different ways that people were trying to, entrepreneur and make money in different ways but when I saw NFTs, that made a lot of sense to me. I don't, anything else had never really like spoken to me I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. I collected Pokemon cards when I was younger. I was definitely huge into that. And it's funny. My son actually brought up something about Pokemon cards. My son's 7, and he brought up a story about how like he has a friend that doesn't know that he has good Pokemon cards, and I'm like, dude, trade him some shit. I know that might sound messed up, and obviously I didn't swear at him, but like trade him something. Like I had a kid that traded me a Mew Pokemon card that if I could have kept on to that, it'd probably be worth a lot of money. It was like a holographic Mew special edition, and he traded to me for like 2 cards that weren't that good. Like they were both holographic, but nowhere close to that.
Okay, how?
I was probably like 11.
Okay.
And like I remember like, all right, handshake, no trades back. Like, okay. And then like 5 days later, he's like, I just realized I made a mistake. Can I have I'm like, no, dude, we shook, no trades back.
No
That's
trades,
how
for him.
right.
His
Realize
dad. That's cool. So I'm the youngest of 6. My oldest brother is about 47. I'm 33. So I had seen some of my older brothers collect cards. They went. I was at the end of the Jordan era, right? So I had seen a lot of collecting that they had done. Well, not a lot, but some. And yeah, I have changed my ways. I no longer do this, right? And I made fun of people that watched Pokemon when I was in high school, right? Like that wasn't I did. Yeah, I wasn't always the nicest person. I could have been nicer. But yeah, I just never got into that stuff. I definitely love Batman. But yeah, I never got into the whole collecting thing. I loved Harry Potter, loved Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I'm not. So it's interesting too. Like those, but it's the stories. I don't know why I don't like collect as much, but like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter stories like that, like the core principles that are being taught in those stories, those mean everything to me.
I used to love those books, especially Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, I was like obsessed with, dude.
Yeah, that's cool.
The movies too were so intense, especially in theater.
Yeah. I think it was really, just a choice. Like I really love sports, and that's where I excelled, and I love that the most. And it was just a time thing, right? Like I only got into so many of the things and could get only so deep. But yeah, I love all that stuff now, and that's cool. Like my wife and I have been married for 12 years, and we love that stuff together too. So we enjoy that. It's fun.
So, what sports were you into when you were going through high school?
So I played basketball, high school football, one state in football, lost state in football, one state in basketball. and then went and played college football here at Southern Utah University in Cedar City, where I live now. So I had about 8 friends that came down. They all walked on or had preferred scholarships. They had preferred walk-on or partial scholarships, and I'd never gotten a letter, never been recruited, never. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but like, even if you're good, you'll get like these generic letters, right? You know.
No, I'm not familiar at all with it.
Yeah. So, like if you're good, if you're good, you'll get generic letters from colleges to like, hey, come apply to our school and give us your money and walk on. You're a good athlete, or whatever. So I never got one of those. I was before the era of so film. When I left high school, it was very common for film to go out on discs, right? Mm-hmm. Right after that was when they started making the online stuff and the huddles, and now that gets shared on Twitter and all those things like that. Which, not that I would have ever had any highlights there anyways, but so I walked on at this college and ended up being the only one out of my friends that finished, which was cool. And I love my friends. They've all gone on and done other great things. Just some went to other schools, some went on church missions and then came home. So had a good experience here, and then met my wife. We did long distance for about a year, and then she moved down here, and then we've lived down here ever since. She's a hairdresser. She is an boss woman. Yeah, she's definitely my best friend, and she works her butt off. She works real hard. So and lets me do these things that I love doing, which is coaching people and helping people out, and then running events, which is like me running. I feel like I get to like run my own championship game every year. So that's fun.
Hell yeah. So how does that tie into like being a performance mindset coach?
So when I went to school here at SU, I graduated with a teaching degree, and I became PE teacher. I was at a small school that had 7th through 12th grade in there. It's only like 300 kids in the school. So I taught like 7th grade PE, 8th grade PE. I teach the whole grade, and then weights classes and do like a history class. I wasn't certified to teach this history class, but I would try and just teach it the best I could.
Love it.
And that turned into my teaching career. Turned from that into running a dropout prevention program. Basically, was the main reason for it, or how it started. We turned it into like a utility belt where we just had kids, any kids that needed extra time to do homework and to get stuff done in their classroom and actually get stuff done, they came into our room. So it could have been a high performing athlete or just someone that was on a lot of teams. They didn't have time after school. Or a lot of times it was kids that they didn't have support at home and they weren't on IEPs, their individual plans for those that have special needs.
Okay.
And so most of my kids didn't have those plans. They didn't have special needs, but they didn't have support at home, and they weren't getting services outside of the class, and they didn't have a good home life. And so they didn't want to be at school, So I quickly had to learn how to stop expecting kids to run through a brick wall for me, because that's kind of what my relationship was with my coaches in high school. Like, I trusted my coaches. I had good relationships with them. I had to start listening a lot to kids. They were different, they didn't respond the way I did, or the way society did, 15 years ago. So that was a really cool experience to be able to help kids that no one thought would graduate, different things that way. In this smaller community, I still see kids at the store and all that. And so I decided, so part of what got me into the performance coaching was figuring out that these kids needed more than just a drill sergeant. And so I needed to help them look inward. I needed to help them look inside and start answering questions. And I needed to start helping them make connections. And so that's how I got into the performance strategies. And I started listening to a podcast. Justin Sua, he's the mental performance coach for the Tampa Bay Rays and has been for the Boston Red Sox back when they won the World Series, actually. And then also for the Cleveland Browns. And just a great mentor to me the last 5 or so years. And but he has a podcast that he puts out every day. It's 2 to 3 minutes. I just listen to it when I brush my teeth or when I drive to the gym or when I drive to work. And it's just a performance tip. It can be to return to your breathing, focus on your breathing for the day. It can be remembering that we do the imposter syndrome, where we learn a lot about something and then we completely doubt ourselves on what that thing is because we look at the top 5% that we're learning from. Um, and that's really changed my life, honestly. So I am so with the combination of the coaching and the sports and then the teaching and then that, I still love working with people and still want to be involved in sports. So I work with a football team up in Salt Lake, where I'm from, up 3 hours north from here. I'll work with them online, do Zoom calls, work with the coach, because I've been a coach. We talk about things that he's going through. I give him biased, unemotional opinion. I help him to see both sides. He can tell me to F off because he doesn't, because it's not he gets to make the decision. I'm just there to try and give perspective and to be someone that is not going to be offended, with whatever's going on.
I wish I had somebody like you in high school. I do, because I was that kid. I was that kid that my stepdad, like I told you before this, I hated him. He was a Vietnam Marine, and he treated me like I was a recruit my whole life. And so, like, I'm getting chewed out at home. I go to school, I'm getting chewed out at school. Like, don't you think that me sleeping in class is something going on other than just me being tired, like every day, and then not caring about? I went from all advanced classes, literally advanced math, advanced English, advanced history in 8th grade, to taking that same math class in 9th grade, that same math class in 10th grade, just because I stopped trying and nobody cared to notice.
Yeah, man. I have empathy for that 100%. Yeah.
And actually, when I think back to it, I was trying to get into a technical school.
Yeah.
8th grade, I don't know what I think it was just I started acting out because of my stepdad, but I was really bad on the school bus, right? So, like, I would fucking get into fights on the school bus. I'd light the school bus seat on fire. I'd throw shit out the windows. I was just wild, literally to the point that they banned me off all the school buses. Because they'd kick me off one, I'd go walk down to the next stop where I knew it was a different bus driver, and then I'd do the same shit like an idiot. So I ended up having to take like public transportation, and because of my actions, they didn't accept me into the technical school.
Okay.
So I never even like actually thought about that. How like everybody just was like, okay, Adam just got caught shoplifting. He's burning the seats. He almost burned the forest down. Like, what is going on with this kid? Why is he acting out so much? Nobody ever thought that. They were just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man. It's hard because I have empathy so much for what you just said, and I have empathy for both sides of just like there were so many kids that I know I felt like I tried to help, and then they never seemed to accept it, or just, again, nothing personal, just there's so many factors that go into it. When you would hear stories from these kids of what they were going through at home, it's heartbreaking for sure. And even just stuff of like, you'd have a kid that had like 250 absences out of 287 days.
Holy shit.
And you'd be, you're trying to get a police officer to go and pick them up just to bring them to school, like, just to bring them to school, because mom is just always saying that they're sick. With weird scenarios like that, right?
Yeah.
And you'd learn that, like, no, like, it looks like mom's just keeping them at home, like, to do everything. Crazy, and sorry, that was just something that I just remembered, but tangent.
Was she like homeschooling or something?
What'd you say?
Was she like homeschooling or something like that?
No. I don't know, like, if she was running like a business at home or just like, I mean, honestly too, just like depression, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, just, no, I don't know at all. It's just what I could see, right? We could never really find out what was going on because it was just always like, yeah, he's just sick.
That's got to be so frustrating.
Sick, yeah, like, I've tried to tell you. And it just didn't match up, right? It just never would match up. So, but so I guess, yeah, for about 8 years, I had some version of working with with kids that I definitely didn't grow. I didn't relate to as to growing up in an unsafe environment, and that was definitely heartbreaking to see that. And um, that's been part of why I really like working with people now. Now maybe it's not like a kid in an unsafe environment, but we as 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, whatever you want to call it, we all have these unsafe environments up in our head on what we perceive is going on in the world, how the world's acting on us, how we're acting on the world. Hopefully we are acting more on the world than the world is acting on us, right? So yeah, I love getting into that with people and breaking it down. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of what Gary does, he's talking to someone, they're talking about something that's going on, they have an excuse, and like I'm not here to, I don't necessarily know like how the business runs that well, or how the specifics as to their expertise, but in terms of the relationship with somebody, and trying to fix that, I really enjoy that, and the relationship with yourself, sure.
Yeah, which could in turn definitely help with your business being more successful, your friendships being better, your relationship being better.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gone through I guess what some may call a faith transition the last couple of years, and that's been huge in regards to how do I look at myself, what do I think about myself, why am I here, what am I doing, and there's a lot of people that I see kind of going through that same thing.
Yeah,
different topics based on what everybody found and latched onto in 2020 during COVID. But
yeah, I feel like a lot of people went into depression after like the shutdown and whatnot.
Yeah, hey Charlie,
Hey, pup.
yeah, I mean, and just learning, man, the world has just gotten even so big, learning just so much more about what's going on and the things that are entrenched in society.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like that only makes sense, right? If you build something off of old knowledge, and then you're getting new knowledge that proves it to be wrong, or shows how there's this data that hey, treating people this way, or having these rules have caused I don't know, they've caused a fair amount of trauma.
That's putting it lightly.
So
yeah, some people like it. Basically, for a lot of people, it was kind of like being locked up in prison. Like some people really didn't go out anywhere, and they didn't live with anybody, so they're just in their apartment by themselves. Like I don't know if you've ever seen Bo Burnham. He has a special out on Netflix, and it's basically him inside of his apartment, slowly going crazy. And it's beautifully twisted, but it's a beautiful work of art. But when you really look past like him trying to be funny and like putting comedy towards everything, it's dark. And that's how it was for a lot of people. Fortunately, I'm a farmer, so like I am I was considered, what would they call it? The word they were using for the people that were allowed to travel during the shutdown. Essential. I'm an essential worker because I'm a farmer. So if I got pulled over, I had my hemp license on me, they're not going to say anything. So I never quarantined. I never shut down. I was always going to my partner's house, going to the farm, like always still making products. Like I was just doing everything. Like it was normal life for me. So shutdown, the only thing it affected was the amount of money my business was taking in. That's it.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. I'm not familiar. So Massachusetts, marijuana is legal.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
But I grow hemp. So
our surrounding states.
So Rhode Island is not yet. Connecticut is just getting there. New Hampshire is not yet. Vermont is. Maine is. So like it's funny that the state New Hampshire, where their slogan is live free or die, doesn't have legal weed. when every state around them, literally Vermont, Maine, Massachusetts, all of them are legal, and they still don't have it legalized. Which, you know, I have a lot of opinions on the legal market. I think that the over regulation of it isn't that good either. And when you see who's winning on the dispensary side, it's never us. It's never my black friends and that have been locked up for fucking weed and everything that should get a chance at this. You know what I mean? Because now we're making money off the same thing you just locked him up for. Okay. And then they have these like social equity programs where they'll let like one person in just to shut people up, and then when people are allowed again, they'll let one more person in, and everybody gets happy about it. But it's like, guys, there's like 7 of us and like fucking 100 of the corporate facilities. It's just not fair at all, and I knew that was going to happen. And a lot of the facilities, especially in Massachusetts, are Canadian conglomerate companies that create these local companies and then launch marijuana brands on it.
They make them look cool and they're not. Interesting.
Yep. It's a dark place. That's why, honestly, my first thoughts when I was telling you I went to those cannabis conventions and whatnot, like I wanted to get into the THC side. I made a vape cartridge that was really good. It was no chemicals in it whatsoever, no cutting agent except stuff that was already in the plant, the terpenes and the cannabinoids. So like the THC and then the flavor. So whatever flavor came from the plant that I was extracting. And then I ran into the problem of the cartridges are the actual issue. The cartridges that it's in are the issue. And I started researching that and found a safe cartridge and all that shit that was lab tested for heavy metal leakage and whatnot. But then it's like the ceiling to get in, the floor to get in is like $1.5 million that you need to have essentially to get into the dispensary side of things. And then I just went into hemp instead.
Like, so what you're explaining is like it's that much for you to start to sell. Got it. Okay.
Well, to like open my facility, get my license, lawyers, you have to have armed guards and shit. Like it's crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really nuts. It really is. And it's mostly cash business because the banks won't really work with them, which makes it even more complicated. Because then they have to have like armor truck deliveries and shit. It's all crazy, man. They don't do this with liquor stores.
Interesting.
And liquor has definitely killed a lot more people than weed has because it's never killed anybody as far as I've seen.
Yeah, there's been out there about that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So, so where are you at on book games?
Book games. I have one from my books that are sitting right over there. I still haven't given them all away yet. I'm just like as it's happening, I'm just like talking to people like, you want a book? I think this book will help you, you know, like I'm just not forcing it. But so I got one token from that. I was having some issues. I didn't get the token dropped right away. I don't know. I must have filled something out wrong. They fixed it for me, but in the meantime, I bought another one because I don't know if you saw the looks and the SOS coin that they did the airdrop for, and if you've traded
are you there? Shoot.
Yeah, I'm still
I had an alarm. Come on, I just had to get it off. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What happened?
Uh-oh. Let me put in the private chat if he tries refreshing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
you. Can you hear me? No? I can't hear you.
That's weird.
Hold on.
There you go. Yeah, book games. I don't know. How many of y'all watching out there have book games? And what book games token do you have? I have the patience will get you fed instead of slaughtered. That's the one I bought. And then I have the self-aware.
I still can't hear you.
Let me try sending him something. This is funny that you guys can hear me, but he can't. There we go. Oh, he must have saw it. Yep. What is the yup to, Sarah? What did I say? Book games. Ah, yeah. There we go.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Yeah, that happens sometimes. This thing's funny. If you just refresh, it's just like I'm fixed.
Okay.
But yeah, I was saying I bought one in the meantime of waiting for my book token to get fixed because I knew it was going to get fixed. I trust Team Gary V and Gary
Yeah,
V. Like
yeah.
I knew that I was going to get it fixed.
So, yeah, this is how much I guess I even trust even the community. This is how awesome the community is, right? Is like, I went through buying the NFT, and then I ended up finding out that there's a friend of mine that goes to the gym that like was into crypto and a little bit into Gary V. He didn't, have a V friend, and so we started talking more and become really good friends with him. And he. So one of the events I run is called the Iron Games, and the weekend of the Iron Games, it was the weekend of the book games airdrop, or the buy the books to get the airdrop. And he called me. He's like, "Dude, I know you're busy, but like you gotta do this. You can't forget." And I was like, "Okay, I won't forget. I forgot." Um, but he bought 12 extra books for me.
Wow.
I had no, and then so like a month after, he's like, "Hey, I got something for you. Let's meet up. Let's have lunch." He bought 12 extra books and then went through the whole process of getting the token transferred over to me. And
Wow.
the whole thing where like I got to work with these guys, and he was always telling me like, "Well, they're saying they got to do this and they got to help me this way." And there was, of course, in the back of my head like, "Well, is this really gonna work?" Like who knows? And man, he's such a good dude. He is such a good dude.
There's so many people like that in this community. It's fucking crazy. Like for me, when I was buying one, I didn't really have the money, but then my friend Corey told me about the Looks and SOS token, the
Yeah.
airdrop that they did. So I got the perfect amount in Looks and SOS to buy a book game. So I was like, I have about 0.2 ETH. What's available? And he's like, dude, I just found this gold. Patience will get you fed instead of slaughtered. I'm gonna scoop it up for you and pay me whenever you get everything cleared. And I was like, no way. He's like, yeah, man, that's cool. It went up to like 0.25 by the time I got it back from him, and he still just honored the 0.2 price.
Oh wow. So explain to me. I don't really know what you're talking about with the tokens.
So there was a couple of airdrops from these tokens where if you traded, I think it was over 3 ETH in the year for the year, you were able to claim free looks tokens that were like based on how much you invested.
Okay, so the SOS drop, I thought so. I went through it, and I only spent 1.5 ETH, and so it said like I had 14. I thought 14 like million SOS or something. I'm not quite sure, but I tried to transfer it over as ETH, and like it didn't transfer anything.
You have to how did I do it? I think I just transferred it to him, so I never like tried to convert it over. I would think that you'd have to probably use something like Uniswap or something like that, Pancake Swap, to get it swapped over to ETH.
Okay, so I do have some still, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Wow. So yeah. Okay. So I need to look into Uniswap, or is that how you say it? I don't even know.
Yeah. Uniswap, Pancake Swap might be another one that pops up on there. Let's see. I mean, it's not like a ton that you have like at money's worth, but it's still something. Take every free fucking penny you can get.
Something. Yeah. So with the book tokens, I got one, and then I sold it, and then I upgraded to Curiosity, see it through Lava Clear. I bought that for like 0.19, and it looks like they're kind of starting to go for 0.22 easy. So hoping to maybe like I've never done this before, so I'm hoping like, okay, maybe if I sell it at like 0.24, 0.25, I'll have a little bit more money, and then I'm like gonna try and find one that's in that target now, right? And then hopefully that one goes up, and then keep doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially with Token Trove, there's no gas, so yeah, it can work that way.
That's basically so yeah, because of like not having that previous experience with this like collectible, like I've bought one baseball card myself. me and my brother-in-laws went in on it, and that was like hard for me because I just like what am I going to do with this, you know?
Yeah, the piece of paper. What the?
Yeah, well, and so well, just like it's more like I'm not connected into the world. That is why NFTs made so much sense to me, right? It was like it didn't mean I had to sacrifice to like focus on this one thing. It was like this is going to have so many.
Yep.
So yeah, this book games token, I'm trying to just make like this consistent flipping game that Gary's always preached, and see how that turns out.
Huh. What token do you have now?
I have Curiosity, See It Through, number 73483, but yeah, Lava, token frame clear.
Nice. Yeah, I have a patience will get you fed instead of slaughtered gold with the black frame, I think. And then I have the self-aware or self-aware because I have the self-aware hair. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking like I'm just like over here. I'm thinking like Gary, right? He's a collector. So like he's gonna create a collector's collection essentially. And so like self-awareness is obviously, one of the biggest things that Gary talks about. So there was already one in version 1. There was already one in book games. I'm guessing there's gonna be one in version 2. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna burn my patience will get you slaughtered, not fed, and then hopefully either mint or trade for whatever the self-awareness trait is. Then I have all 3 of the self-awareness traits. It's gotta mean something.
Gotta mean something. That makes sense. I like what he's been doing with the self-aware hair in terms of the branding of it, right? I mean, just yeah, I mean, it just makes it exciting for what he's going to do with everything else, right? And who's going to come along that he meshes with, and that meshes with him. And I mean, it's the probably even the exciting things of how many conversations have you heard him say about how he's gotten far down the tunnel with kids and through TikTok and having influence there. And so yeah, he's going to have a lot of kids going to him to do their products, so yeah, it totally makes sense. I mean, that's even what I'm selfishly doing. I don't know if this is possible even, right? But it's like I would love to start doing NFTs for my event. It's not my event company. So to be clear, I work for the Utah Summer Games. It's a state games, so it's a nonprofit, and so I work for the state. And we put on 40 to 50 events. It's been going on for 35 years, and was started here. And so here in Cedar City, and through the Southern Utah University, the university they have here in the town, there's been a great partnership with putting on these events. And we can have a college football stadium, an Olympic-sized swimming pool. We can be up 5-10 minutes up on the mountain, going through the hills, doing the mountain climb, open water swim. There's just a lot that can be done out here, definitely in the outdoors. Disc golf, there's a lot of those fun adventure type of sports too, not just basketball and all those team sports. But it'd be so cool to get NFTs going for the ticketing system, and then also like within regards to creating a community, and creating some brand there and doing NFTs, and have an event specifically called the Iron Games. It's one that's a CrossFit competition, and those are a little bit more of a media a beast. Like they can become, they're what people would go pay a ticket and go watch and see and go to a conference, right? So you pay, money to go to a 3-day fitness festival. And so I just paid and went to Miami in January, went to a fitness festival. And so
a fitness festival?
Yeah. So Comic-Con, like same thing. Yeah, same thing. So there's things called FitCon. FitCon would be like, you go to the Salt Palace in Salt Lake, the big event center, and they'd have bodybuilding show going on, and they'd have a powerlifting show, an Olympic weightlifting show, and a obstacle course, and a CrossFit competition, and all these different fitness and supplement vendors, sampling products, and maybe the Army's there, and they've got some challenges that they've got going on, or obstacle course races. And so those are things that happen every year in Vegas, or wherever in big cities, but they have some in Salt Lake too. But then our event, we serve 10,000 athletes, so we run these events throughout the whole year. So they're not like all here at the same time. Different events have their pockets of people. But then also with CrossFit or functional fitness specifically, they have a lot of different versions of these games. So they'll have people that will play on what's called the grid. And so it'll be like they're moving down like this football field, and they have some athletes that can lift heavy weights fast or can take a sled fast or do gymnastics movements very well. Girls that can do tons of gymnastics things, and they switch in and out. And then, but for my event specifically, so if you go to Instagram, I don't know if you can pull, I'm sure you got multiple screens, right? What do you got?
Yep.
But yeah, if you go to Instagram, you go to the Iron Games. Just type
the Iron Games.
Yep.
All right.
That's our specific CrossFit event that is under the Utah Summer Games. And you go to like videos, click on, you click on, but yeah, just like competitions.
We're here at day 3 of the 2021 Iron Games. I am standing with Sydney Ford, who just got done completing Gymnosphere. It's a couplet of heavy clean and jerks and handstand walks. So Sydney, heading into that workout, what was your mindset leading into it? What were you trying to focus on when you hit the floor?
I was really excited going into this workout.
Bro, she got some quads.
right.
Jesus Christ.
What'd you say? Sorry.
So Jesus Christ, like you're making me feel small as hell.
All right, man. So yeah, I click on the one with the running. Even, yeah, that was.
Didn't want to get a copyright flag just in case.
oh, okay. I guess that makes sense.
Huh.
But yeah, so you can go. Do you have to worry like if it's our video? I guess.
I don't know. I don't think so.
You should watch. Hold on.
What'd you say?
Go back. Scroll down. Watch that one with the guy on the left. Yeah, that one.
Looks to me like a whole bunch of like warrior shit.
Yeah, so that's our team of 3 division. So yeah, males or females, they do teams of 3. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It's fun. It's fun to stay competitive and then to see other people do stuff that they didn't think they could do, and they do it, and they work for it all year long.
Do you compete in those as well?
So I have. So yeah, if you go to my Instagram, I've been in some. I went to Wadapalooza, which is the competition in Miami, a couple years ago, right before COVID, actually. So it was the end of February in 2020. It was like right before that all happened. So you might have to scroll back a bit, probably. But I mean, I've got some pictures on there, but I don't think I have any like video. I mean, some of them you have qualifiers, online qualifiers that you have to complete beforehand to make it to the competition. Some you don't. Our competition, you don't have to. Qualifier currently, but
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of my passion. That's my thing. Like all day long, I just think about that.
that's crazy. That seems intense to be thinking about all the time. How often do you work out?
So I try to work out about 5 times a week. I do hot yoga every Thursday, and I've gone through some ebbs and flows. So the last year or two has been different because of trying to start like this event.
Mhm.
So you get more into doing this event and you get less out of like working out because there's stress, and then just more time. And then the NFT thing that threw me for a loop, right? So that took a lot. Um, I definitely did choose to not go to the gym. It's because of NFTs at times. So yeah, but I try to work out 5 to 7 times a week. Sorry, 5 times a week, 7 times in regards to like getting outside. Like I
Mm,
have to get outside every day.
really? Even if
Yeah,
it's snowing?
that's last year, and that's what's been something that I've been self-aware. So I write in this journal every day. It's called Better Your Best. A friend of mine, Ashley Whiting, made it, and so what I do is I write down 5 things of gratitude, 3 affirmations, and then 10 dreams. And the 10 dreams I actually started doing 5+ years ago. A friend of mine showed it to me, a different friend, and yeah, I just write those down every day. I think it helps me. And self-awareness is actually one of the things I write down. I swear, I write it down every day. It's been my word for the year. See if you can see it. I don't know if, no, gotta go there. You see it at the very bottom.
Uh-huh.
Awareness,
That's
self-awareness.
awesome.
I write that down every day because in part of like what I've gone through, I feel blessed for acting like it's been a trial. But yeah, just going through NFT stuff, going through trying to like grow this event, and then starting my own business on the side that's completely different. But then the event kind of feels like my own business too because I just love it so much.
Yeah.
So going through all that, and then going through my wife and I some faith changes. Yeah, I'm just trying to be really self-aware of why I do the things I do. Why do I react certain ways? Why?
Mm.
When I was a teacher, even like why did I react in the ways that you're talking about that? So one I can remember specifically is I didn't have dogs growing up. I don't know if your relationship with dogs.
Yep.
I have an animal growing up. I now have 2 dogs. I love them to death. Can't imagine life without them. But I didn't understand that in the first part of my teaching career. And so I had a kid that showed up late to my class one day and was like, I was on him about it. I was all over him about it, like you can't come late to my class and my dog and this and this and this last night. I don't care, you don't be late to my class,
Yeah.
and man, that was humbling. That was super humbling. A couple years later, I got a dog and I figured that out.
You're like,
Figured that
"Shit, I get it now."
we get it. So
Perspective is everything.
what'd you say?
Perspective is everything.
Everything. So yeah, definitely just trying to be more self-aware overall. Even in my wife and I's relationship, why do I noticed a problem of like I'm a little bit. She is more blunt than I am. I'm more passive aggressive. I don't want to rock the boat. I want everything to be good, and that comes from my parents, who I saw not argue. So my
Mm.
definition of a successful marriage when we first got married was that we wouldn't argue, and when we would argue, it would really hurt me. Um, so I've gotten way better at that, and then she's also just been really patient with me. But I've learned that she'll bring up an issue that she has, something that I legitimately can work on or fix, or made her feel not very good about herself, whatever it is. Um, I can bring up something that I hadn't brought up yet in that moment, and try and turn, and I've been really good to be more self-aware of that lately, because now I can be more accountable and I can own my stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helps, like, I for me, it took, like I do, like, microdosing with mushrooms, right?
Okay.
So, it took a lot of that to almost, like, reconnect memories for me, essentially, like, why do I act like this in this situation? Like, why do I immediately react with anger? Like, where does this come from? And then it's like, after microdosing, it like forces you inside of your own brain and to deal with all the traumas you've basically ever had in life, whether you like it or not. And so it's like, wow, my parents always did that. They always just snap, snap, snap. And now it bothers me when I act that way. It bothers me when other people act that way because I know it's gonna bring out more anger about from me. And I'm like trying to stay calm. Like, my first reaction is to just spaz on you. I'm just gonna relax. I'm gonna relax.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've ran into quite a few people that have talked about that. I've never done that before. Yeah,
It's helpful a lot for people that have massive trauma in their lives, whether it's like physical, mental, combination of both. Because I've had some brain injuries and shit, like getting
yeah,
jumped when I was younger, car accidents, all this crazy shit. Like, you know, I just sometimes feel like some of the synapses are firing a little slow, and I hate that. Like, I hate my mind getting in my own way because I'm like, I know I'm smart, and just sometimes my like stupid side of my brain gets in the way of the smart side of my brain.
sure. Yeah, I don't know. For me, sometimes it's just these like unproductive thinking circles, right? You
Yep.
know, you worrying about something or just thinking about again this reality that think you think about so much stuff that does not happen, right? So you have a
All the
massive
time.
reality in your head going on. How much time are you going to spend in it to build that world that's, I mean, not there? And there's positive things and negative things about that, right? Like, should you build a positive world in your own head or positive reality of gratitude and of kindness, of love, of things for yourself, so that you can go give those other people? Well, yeah, I think that'd be great. That's valuable time spent, but you can spend time doing other stuff that is a lot less valuable for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, like performance wise, like things that we, would talk about there would be like, as a breathing patterns, like can you get in habits where you remind yourself of that? And well, I people will say, well, like, oh, I forget to do it in the moment. It's like, well, you have to practice it when it's easy, right? So what's a frozen habit that you have? A frozen habit is a habit that you do every day. You brush your teeth, you go to the bathroom in the morning, whatever it is. And so can you connect this new habit to this frozen habit? So
Hmm.
practice it every day. Again, if you're brushing your teeth, like you could put your hand on your stomach and you could work on your breathing, for
Hmm.
2 or 3 minutes, right? And it could be that 2 or 3 minutes could be the most impactful 2 minutes of your day, daily, day in and day out, versus another 2 minutes of, and I won't even say like scrolling because people will say scrolling like so like that 2 minutes you might feel is a really productive 2 minutes for you to like send something to someone or who knows, the 2 minutes in the car on your way to work, you have your favorite song you listen to that pumps you up for the day, whatever, right? But if you can find ways to throw in productive things like that, it can be a game changer for sure.
Yeah, you definitely need to. For me, it's like all about lists. I slack on it because like whenever I make a list, shit gets done. Whenever I don't make a list, shit falls to the wayside. It's just like how it seems to work. And like sometimes it's like, how do you connect the self-awareness to the action? So I like that a lot, like forming it around your
Yeah.
frozen habits.
Yeah, so I don't know if you have anything you're thinking of. We could break it down though if you want, but that's something that definitely I did with Gary, right? So I was, and that took over some old. So I used to always listen to the Justin Su'a podcast that I mentioned, on my way to work. Well, then I started listening to Gary. So then it was this like, well, I should be listening to this other podcast because that's who I want to be, but I'm also now listening to Gary's, and it's conflicting, conflicting priorities, and so figuring out like, well, wait, I've gotten new information, so like give yourself a break. So find different ways and throw them in different situations that may work better. But the shower is awesome too. Like I love, dude. I think in the shower. I don't know about you.
And
I'm all about that.
way too much. Like, I'll put on a podcast and then realize I haven't listened to a fucking word of it. I'm just in my brain, like in the shower, thinking of everything that happened that day, what I didn't do, what I need to do tomorrow, what's coming up. Like, my brain just is just like.
Have you ever taken cold showers?
Yeah, I've actually been doing that more lately. I haven't felt great the last couple of days, so I haven't done it, but I've been doing like slowly. I did like 15 seconds at the end of my shower. I did cold, and then 30 seconds and 45 seconds, and it sucks. It does suck right now, and I know it'll get better, but it's just like it's the first 15 seconds I find that is the worst because I'm just like, and like maybe I just need to switch it. Maybe I need to like start with the cold and then go to warm, but then here's the thing. I don't know. Like it's weird because the cold is so much colder because I was just in a hot shower, but then getting out into the ambient air feels so much warmer because I was just freezing cold for 45 seconds.
Yep. I have so that's part of the scientific benefit of that, right? Is like when you step out is that blood rush that you get to try and warm your body. There's tons of benefits from cold showers for sure. And I've done it both ways. I've done it where I turn that thing cold and I hop in from the beginning. And I would that's actually one of the ways that I started listening to that podcast, the 2 to 3 minutes. Because that's what they say. If you could do a 2 to 3 minute cold shower, like that's kind of the best, most efficient way to get that cold soak in, without like filling up your whole tub, getting in it, right? So I would just listen to that podcast and I would just, until that podcast was over, then I'd get out. But now what I do is I just do it at the end, like after I've like, rinsed myself all over, right, stepped out. And then when I go back in, I just turn it cold real quick. And so sometimes I'll be in there for like a minute, but only or like 15 seconds even. Like today I didn't go very long. There's just some days where like the draft is like worse, right?
Yeah.
But cold showers are awesome, man. If you keep building that habit, I think that you will find a lot of value in that. And even just like I feel awesome hours later of like I took a cold shower, and that's just not
I did something I did not want to do at all. Yes.
right.
Yeah, it's my old business partner got me into like thinking about cold training and stuff. Like there was one time specifically, it was very cold. It was January, I believe. And I went outside. He went outside with shorts, a wet t-shirt, and nothing else, like no shoes or nothing. And I went outside with no shoes and in a t-shirt. Like I didn't wet myself. I'm like, you're fucking nuts, dude. And we stayed out there for 10 minutes. And it was 0 degrees. It was freezing cold, like way colder than any cold shower I've probably taken. And it was like invigorating, like when I got inside the house, everything's tingling and it's like, whoa. And I wish I had like a partner around here that like we could do that together, like do cold training and whatnot. Cause even like now I'm getting more into fitness. I've slacked. I haven't worked out in the past 2 days. Besides that, I've worked out like 75 days in a row.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
So I haven't been feeling great. That's why, like I'm just trying to take it easy on my body. Tomorrow I'm back to it though.
Well, and that was why when you asked me like, hey, how many times do you work out a week? And like I kind of like I used to always work out 5 to 7 times a week, like always, But now it's like, you know what? We had some snow at the start of the month, and my back really doesn't respond well after shoveling snow. So I didn't work out for a week,
Yeah.
And like that happens, and I just know that that's in the past. That's when I've gotten hurt, or I've lifted these heavy rocks or done this landscape, whatever type work, and then I went to the gym. And so, yeah, like I'd rather take a week off or a couple of days off when I don't feel good, and like again, just do walks, or because those can be just unamazing, like so beneficial, rather than go to the gym. And I like to work out in an intense way at the gym and get hurt.
I've been doing a lot of like functional fitness stuff. Like I'm not big. I'm 5'8". I'm 150 pounds. Like I've always kind of been that weight. I've gotten up to like 170 when I was working out heavy and got bigger.
Yeah.
But like then I was doing a lot of like when I used to work out when I was 22, I would go play a game of basketball. So it'd be like 45 minutes of cardio. And then I'd go work out for 45 minutes. And then I'd go sit in the steam room and stretch out for like a half hour. So like every day I was able to go back to the gym because I was never sore because I'm spending this quality time stretching myself and recovering. And now I'm like, I don't know, like Joe Rogan. I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, right? And that man, I just found out, as massive as he only lifts about 75 pounds at a time. So he uses kettlebells and does, like, functional fitness and
Yeah,
everything, and that's kinda what I've been doing. I mean, mine's only 25 pounds, I'm not there yet, but
that's
it's
okay.
it feels great, like, even the stuff without, doing it, like, I'll do a 10-minute warm-up workout, and then I'll shadow box for, like, 10 minutes,
Cool.
and then if I'm feeling it, I'll do, like, a little bit of strength stuff too. But yeah, I really wanna get into more, like, kettlebell side of things, and that's why I can't wait. I was telling you before, like, we're in the in-laws' house, and it's such a small space. Can't wait to have a house and, like, have a gym at my house, and, like, uh,
Right.
I cannot wait for that, man, because I know I'm gonna be in the best shape of my life once that happens.
That's awesome, dude. That's really cool because you just mentioned a few different things of just various skills, shadow boxing, and so it just reminds me of what is being preached in NFT that I don't think is preached enough in fitness and health and wellness, right? It's like this is for life, So you got to find what works for you, and everyone has something different, right? And
Yep.
also phases like Joe Rogan has not always just done that kettlebell, I bet, right? But like that's what he's doing now that works for him, right? And you can even see, I believe, if you follow his life, he's built up a foundation of this for a long time. So now he has the ability to, um, you know, do something so specific like that, and like he's gotten into that focus for 5 years, right? Like you with maybe shadow boxing or whatever it might be, and so that's what I think is like. Remember, it's a hobby and it's a for life thing, right? You could in 10 years be doing something totally different, because you live somewhere different. Who knows? Who
Yep.
knows?
Yeah, I really wanna get into, I have a I became really good friends with him. It started as a sponsorship. He's a pro MMA fighter. At the time, he was in the UFC, and, since then, he's back down to, like, the pro leagues around here, building his way back up and whatnot, but he's become one of my good friends, and I really wanna train with him really bad. I just don't have the funds for it yet, and
Yeah,
once that happens, like, I don't know, I'm itching, like, dude, I do a lot of stuff. One of the coolest things I do, though, is I film cage side for a pro MMA league, the one my buddy's in right now,
cool,
like, literally standing on the side of the cage, and,
cool.
like, there's times I just wanna hop over and fight too, like, I just
Sure.
I
Well,
just wanna
well,
fight somebody.
maybe you've already thought about it, right? But priorities, right? Like and times of seasons and like so things can always change, but maybe don't underestimate your knowledge and your abilities to trade and share information, right?
Mm,
You have skills and you have the ability to educate people and the things that you're interested in, right? And I don't, maybe your area is not that way. I know here where I live, like people like to trade. They like to trade work. They like, I've got a buddy that does welding and can fix anything, and he trades me and helps me do stuff that I have no clue how to do in terms of handyman type things, and I do some fitness stuff for him, or we sit down and break things down for an hour, and that's it.
it's funny enough you said that because during today, I had the thought of, what if I just hit up Pete and offer him, like, for your next 3 fights, I'll film, like, the pre-fight footage and the training footage you wanna do, like, and I'll edit it all together for you, and you just train, like, allow me to train once or twice a week or whatever, you know?
Just that, yeah, you just gotta ask, and you'll do it 3 times maybe, or maybe you'll do it and you're like, oh, it wasn't worth it. I didn't like it that much, but you'll know.
Yep.
You'll
Yeah,
know.
exactly. I think I really will like it. I was telling my fiance one of her exes trains at the gym that I'd be going to, and, he's got a little bit more jujitsu training than me, so I wouldn't feel comfortable getting in there right now, but give me a few months, that's the first person I wanna spar. Not because I
Yeah,
hate him, but just because why not, And then I was saying to her, I was like, after a little bit, I would love to make it a goal to, like, spar my friend that's the pro fighter. Just I don't know why. I have no clue why. I just, like, wanna push myself to that limit, and I know he's gonna fucking whoop my ass, but
I think that'd be awesome. So me, team sports, never scored a touchdown, never really had my name in the paper, never had my name in the paper, never was just always a role guy, left tackle, in basketball, get a few rebounds. I was 6'1". The 4 and 5s ahead of me were 6'5" and 6'7". Man, we had 10 guys on that roster that won state, and our games were not as competitive as our practices were. So that background, the walking on, right? Finding CrossFit for me after college football was like the thing where I just got to know what my score was based off my work, right? So that was really cool. And just, again, like if I'm going to do this for life, well, now I just get to have this game, this video, whatever how you want to relate to it, of like that I can just improve in and get better at it and go down different paths. And, but I try to get really competitive, like try and be even professional. Even I gave it my best shot, which is probably nothing compared to a lot of people, right? But it wasn't the right path for me. But that was also part of how I found like doing the event, the Iron Games event. So it's like that's the way that I get to still be in that community, or create that kind of atmosphere and have that experience. And that's being self-aware, I guess, right? So yeah, you too, right? Like you want to have that experience and do those. You just think it'd be so cool just to.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to like I did
level of-
boxing when I was younger, right? And I got into boxing because I was getting into a lot of fights. And my dad was like, "You have to stop. Like you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna hurt you're gonna hurt somebody. You can't do this forever. Like put that energy into something good." Like what his best friend from high school was a pro boxer, Scott Pemberton. And so he brought me to his gym and his coach trained me. And I remember for like the first 6 months, I'm like, I haven't barely thrown a punch, Dad. What the fuck? Like, because this coach would just be like, run stairs, go run across this, like just destroying my ego or trying to. And he never got to that point, right? Probably like a year into training, I was in the locker room and I there was these 3 other kids. They were definitely older than me, bigger than me. And I was walking out of the locker room like exhausted, like not paying attention. And I like stepped on the back of the kid's shoe while he was like leaning over tying his shoe. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And they're like, what the fuck? And then the 3 of them jumped me. So I stopped boxing after that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like kind of like a dunk, like what would have happened if I just pushed through that? And instead of like being like, I'm not going back there because I'm gonna get jumped. What if I was just like, okay, let's go in the ring and let's fucking go. Even if I lost, it still would have, shown something. I don't know. I think back to that now. I'm like, I want to go train again.
Yeah, let that be that little chip on your shoulder, that little bird in your ear,
Yeah, like because
good to have that chip for those kinds of things.
yeah, and it's like it's funny because fighting for me back in the day was an ego thing, right? Like I remember one time a kid, he didn't throw it at me. He was throwing a Nerf football with another kid at daycare, and he hit me in the back of the head, and I started Nerf football. It doesn't hurt. It just pissed me off.
Right.
And I turned around and started punching him and started cussing at him. And I remember my dad got in the car after picking me up, and he was just like silent for like 10 minutes. And then he's like, I kind of understand like fighting him, but why do you have to swear so much? Because I was like, you fucking bitch, you fucking. I'm like 8 years old doing this.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder if it was like a realization moment for my dad of like, damn, did you learn this from me? Like,
Right. So, you mentioned about your stepdad and your dad. So, when did your stepdad come into your life? Has your dad always been in your life? Not been in your life?
my dad, so like I was taken away from our mom when I was about 7, over some bullshit, but I basically didn't see my mom till I was 11 after that. Like I would see her every other weekend for 2 hours. And so basically, or was it an hour? I think it was an hour actually. So it was like 26 hours a year essentially for 4 years that I saw my mom. So I saw my mom for like 4 days in 4 years essentially.
Okay.
My dad was my rock, but also was he wasn't ready for his 2 kids to be thrown on him full time. Like, him and my mom split, and they went their own ways, and then, like, I'll give him credit, he did his best, but he was just all over the place. He'd move in with his girlfriend, they'd get into a fight, we'd go to my Nana's, he'd move back, then we moved to a different house, and then we'd move to my Nana's, then they broke up again, we go to an apartment, that wouldn't work out, we'd go to my Nana's, like, just all over the place, and then my mom, like, fixed everything. And that's when my stepdad came in when I was like 11 years old because he was a lawyer. My mom became a nurse in the time that like she wasn't in our lives really.
Yeah.
And she did things to make her life better.
Right.
And then my dad was in my life like every other weekend, and he was still kind of, always there until probably really it was when he had another kid. And then when he had another kid, he kind of like started looking at my sister and I differently because we have the same mom and dad. So
Yeah.
we come from the devil, according to him. Like he hasn't gotten over my mom or the anger he feels towards my mom, I should say. And it's been since 1996, like grow up. So
Right.
like I actually haven't talked to my dad in almost 4 years now.
Okay. That's interesting, I bet. Like, yeah, going from The Rock and then now haven't talked to him for 4 years. So, okay, and then so with this so this is a podcast, even though it's a live show podcast, right? So you do this every Thursday?
Every Thursday, yeah. I've been I recommitted back to it. I think I'm on like week 25 or 26. It's been like 6 months in a row.
I was going to ask you, you said 3 seasons in show 24. So like, how have you determined the seasons? Is it just the year when the year starts over?
Basically, usually.
Okay.
And this year's the only year I haven't done it because I'm actually really thinking about going and undoing that and just doing episode numbers because by now I would be at episode over 100, and I think that looks more impressive than the seasons.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could just start calling it that, right?
Yeah, just kind of get it going from now.
This is actually, hey, this is season 3, episode 25, or, which is actually, episode this, and then just start transitioning out of saying the season part.
That's true. Yeah, like just start introducing the episode that way. Episode number.
This episode 75. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
76. So how do you always, like, do you have someone every week? Is it easy to find? Is it, yeah?
It's not so easy to find always, and sometimes, like, especially beginning of the year, I think, like, the end of the year, beginning of the year, people aren't very serious about working, or a lot of people aren't,
Yeah.
and I had, like, 2 guests drop off in a row, so I purposely did an end of the year show by myself. It was the first show I've ever done by myself. I was like, "Oof, this is kinda nerve-wracking,"
Cool.
but I did well, and then the next week, my guest canceled, so I did another solo show, and then the next week like my guest canceled, I did another solo show. So I did like 3 rows, 3 in a row. Exactly. So like I'm probably gonna I have an opening in April that I haven't filled yet. Like I'm basically booked till June.
Can I take that?
Yeah.
Yeah. If so, I was just my wife just got home from work, and now that I've met you and I've learned a little bit of your story, I want to ask tons of questions, and what's not my business is not my business. But yeah, I'd love to talk with you more, and I especially love to talk with you about your relationship with your dad. If you're open to talk.
I'm an open book, man. Especially I've come to realize as I've worked on destroying my ego that the most important thing is just to talk about the things you're going through because dude, it's the amount of friends I've lost to suicide and stuff just because they just never talked about it or never felt like anybody could relate to them because maybe I didn't talk about something that they could have related to. And
Sure.
so now it's like, I don't care. I've told some dark, dark, dark secrets, like traumas in my life at this point, and it gets uncomfortable. It's sometimes, but the more you do it, it's just like, what does it matter? It's part of my story. It's not who I am now.
Absolutely. I can resonate with that. Yeah, man, I'd love to talk more about that stuff. About my own stories and past and experiences, I think, that are, I don't know, probably not like that different from anybody else's, but you yeah, when you talk about them, it's nice to relate to people that way. And so yeah, April. Did you say April 8th?
April 14th.
April 14th. Let me see. That
And
is.
by the way,
Yeah.
I think it's a mistake that you don't have a podcast.
You're probably right. Do you want to help me start one?
I mean, I'm down. I'm down to help you. I think that you should do some kind of like fitness podcast or something. You're clearly very passionate about it. You have a great presence when speaking. I've let you. I have this thing where if people are good at speaking, I just let them talk, and I just ask questions in between and stuff. And you're great at talking. So the fact that this is your first live stream or podcast appearance is like kind of a sin, I think.
So I've done podcasts before for sure.
Okay.
I have done podcasts before, just not like the whole live thing. So no, I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Again, like anytime anyone values or appreciated or enjoyed the time that they spent talking to you, we have so much freedom and so many options, and so I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
And I appreciated getting to know you and talk with you. So April 14th, yeah, like go ahead and put me down. And if anything even earlier comes up, and you just reach out and let me know, and I'll see if I can make that work too.
Hell yeah, and definitely let's keep in touch. I'll definitely help you get started and give you a few tips and tricks and whatnot. And are you going to VCon for sure?
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck yeah.
Sure. Where are you staying?
I'm staying at the Hilton.
The Hilton. Okay. I haven't picked a place yet. I need to grab a place.
Oh man, yeah, I got on that super early. I was just like, fuck, I already got my plane tickets. I got everything all set. The only thing I'm kind of like up in the air about is a rental car, right? Because normally whenever I travel anywhere, the first thing I do is pick up a rental car just because it's so much easier. It's worth spending a couple $100 and just getting it done. But the hotel charges $25 a night to park.
Oh.
I'm like, dude, I got to spend an extra like 40% on a rental car essentially if I get one.
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, man, I gotta look into that for sure.
Yeah, so it would work if like, I guess if I don't know. I'll figure it out though. I always will. But yeah, I don't want to keep you too long. Definitely go spend some time with the wife. I'm about to do the same.
Hey, and your fiance, what was her name?
Courtney.
We'll tell her hello, and thanks for giving us her time as well.
Yeah, she walked in here. She's like, "You're not done yet." Like, no, not done yet.
I can talk ever. So yeah, no, thanks, Adam. I appreciate it, man, and yeah, I'll look forward to the 14th for sure.
Hell yeah, let's do it. Keep in touch.
Hey, peace. Bye.
And as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Good vibes to you. I'll see you next week. My guest, oh sweet, Corey Hogan. He's one of my like good friends that I've met in the V Friends community, and he's actually, that's funny enough. I was saying the book game story earlier that he bought it for 0.2 ETH for me, trusting that I was going to give him the money, and honored the 0.2 price when I bought it from him. So shout out to Corey. I can't wait to talk NFTs and new Tortuga and all that kind of stuff with him next week. So make sure y'all tune in. Have a great night.